Because we know what's going on, we don't need to look at the bigger picture for the stocks too much. Essentially, yesterday we were looking for the market to continue up a momentum, followed by Friday to push up further. With the SP500 here, the 61.8% is at the 4,000. So we may see that push up a little bit further. But that's sort of where we are. Once that's complete, we'll see a move down at that point. We'll take a closer look at the S&P when we do the indices video. So for Apple here, yesterday, all these stocks are pretty much the same. I mean, obviously there's some that are slightly different, but they're pretty much the same. We're looking for rallies. Some have rallied more than others and so on, but they've all pretty much done the same thing. So I don't need to look at sort of a bigger picture situation. But if we take Apple here as an example, and we were looking for the A, the B, and we were looking for that push up here, then we just really need to understand from B to C here. And I think there's got one more little push here. So we're on 1,000 ticks. We're on the bearish move here at the moment. So we'll look at 100 ticks, I think. Just to give an idea here, let me just, this has got wave 4 there, where the other one's got wave 2, but don't worry about that too much. They're just alternative counts doing the same thing. We just need to get a bit more data in here so we can pick up the bottom here somewhere. Okay, so we've got the A wave and A, B, C here for the B wave. And then we're looking for the C wave up here from B to C. We're looking for 5 waves. So I'm thinking we've got wave 1 here and 2 here. And then we've got 5 waves here. Wave 3 is a bit short, but this one's a bit shorter. So it's diminishing into that particular point. Nice strong wave 3, typical complicated wave 4, then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 for the third wave. The fourth wave here, I haven't investigated it. Because it's coming into the end of the session soonish, then it could get a bit sort of heebie-jeebie, you know. But we still need that 5th wave to push up here to finish that off. So that's really where stocks are. And as I mentioned yesterday, when we were looking for the top, what we were looking for, we don't need to short at the top. You could do that if you wanted to. But what we're looking for is that first drop here, a bit like this here, just that drop, you know. Or drop here, any sort of drop here, and then we can look. Then it'll rally to retest supply, and it'll leave that low exposed. Now, obviously, it'll do this in 3 waves, and that will give you the opportunity to short it here and put the stop above the previous high. Don't put it on the high, and that could be your first position there. Now, that can just be a part position. You don't want to put a full trade in on the turn. I mean, the money's on the turn. I know that, but so is the risk. So what we need to do is we know that it's, but I've got this 130 here in this instance is the top of minor group 1. Okay. So minor group 1 comes from 100. Then we have 10, 20, and 30 here. That's all of group 1, minor group 1. And then from 30 to 40 here, we'll have the Fibonacci sequence 1, 2, 3, 5, and 8. So this becomes also, this 1, 2, 3 becomes a group 1, but 1 degree smaller, so subgroup 1. And we know that if the market can't find support on top of 33 here, then it still belongs to this closest largest number to be pulled down. Now, to confirm that it's at this number here, when the number 2 here, the 132, once that becomes the retested resistance, and you're looking for a nice strong resistance at this stage, then once that 2 becomes, then you know it belongs to the third, and then it'll be pulling down at this point. So it is an opportunity to build in trades through here at certain levels. And then also what you've got to watch out for, if this is wave 1 coming down here, then you've got to kind of watch wave 3, 4, and 5 coming down here, because then you're going to get some sort of ABC pattern. And this is the kicker here, because it may come back to 61.8%, it may come back to 50%, but it could come back to 80%. normally if this locks in here, then that will lock in over here, and that should be good to go at that point. And then, you know, once that becomes the resistance. So you can build in very small positions, keeping the stop up to here. And then once you've got this first wave down here, and this gets triggered here and takes that low out here, then you can drop that stop down to here. Now then you've got a small position, and then you basically halve the risk on the first smaller position, you know. So that allows you to give you a bit more space to do things here. So you just keep building in positions, and the same with the downside as well. So under the 130, I'm just taking some time here to explain it here, because then it's group 1 above 130 and subgroup 2 below, so 126.50, 127.20, or 22.5 really, but where are we in here somewhere? Get things working. Close enough. So that's group 2 there. So once group 2 becomes the retested resistance, then you know that it's rejected the 130 at this point. You know, this is the space here for this market to correct at this number. And yes, it can go higher up here, but it's just depending if it finds support or not. Because the extension's in wave 3 here, that means wave 1 here and wave 5 here will be roughly the same size. Okay, so anyway, many roads to Rome. Everybody needs to find their own way and do their own thing, but that's it at that point. So basically that's what we're looking at for all the stocks. Now, they're all a little bit different in their own way, so we'll just whip through them. Nvidia here has got the A wave, the B wave here, and we'll need another little move to the upside here for this. So I've just put that here because we had it down here just in case it, you know, dropped down, in case, you know, just dropped here or something or rather, as we talked about. Anyway, we can bring that up here. We still need that little fourth wave to complete there. It's just not there. We've probably got 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5 here. You could probably drop that down here a little bit further if you wanted to short it at that point. But once again, you know, when you think about, I always think about this is group 2 up here, and you'll have group 1 down here at 130 and so on. You know, I think of this large number here and I think to myself, okay, well, if I'm going to trade, say, 4 shares, then if I can get sort of, you know, one of them in here and another one here and maybe another one down here and then sort of get another one under here as well, then I could manage my exposure a little bit better. That's all. So I don't get sort of have that big loss. Amazon. So once again, we've got the A wave, the B wave and the C wave up here, and you can see the strong bid in the middle here. So we've still got a bit more to move up here for this. One of the things that we need to be a little bit mindful of here is this wave 4 over here overlapping wave 1 over here. It doesn't look like this whole thing's finished just yet. But anyway, a little bit of an issue here, but we should see that top and turn, but we may end up overlapping that. So that's a bit of an issue for some folks. Meta platforms. So we're counting this up here yesterday. I think we're doing this on the 100. Anyway, we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Still got further to go up here. I think we were looking at this on the 100 ticks as well. Not that it's a biggie. Yeah, so this is where we were somewhere yesterday in here. So we've got 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So I don't think I'm even there yet on that, you know. I think we're here. We've still got further ground to go up here, I think, on this. Just double check. I suppose it depends if you call that wave 1 rather than this one. But anyway, I think there's still a bit more to play out here with this. Be something like that. Probably failed to get support on this here, that number 3. Wherever you see a 3, it's going to be a group 1. It's either going to be minor group 1 or subgroup 1 or micro group 1. So we're getting close to short positions. I mean, you know, but we also need to get the trade set up on the short side. We need to basically validate a situation. So validating a situation doesn't matter what degree of structure really, but we do need, you know, it's nice to have a 5-wave sequence on your side, because once you see that, you might pick the top, but then having that 5 waves here, it's good to have that because it doesn't really matter too much, because getting the turn too close, because if you've got the 5 waves there, that's a real safety catch, because you can short here and the stop can go here, and once that's triggered here, then the stop can be brought down to here. It just gets you on your way. You may only get 3 waves. You might get an A and a B and a C wave here, and then you back up at that point. So that's the issue, And the second issue is that if you do get 5 waves, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 here, then you're going to come back up here anyway to 50, 60%. You know what I mean? It's a pretty rough ride getting in on the turn, It's you got to kind of close your eyes and come back tomorrow kind of thing, sometimes. Easier said than done. But keep refining that skill set. So here with Netflix here, we've got 1 and 2, 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5 here. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So we're very close to that. We still need 4 and 5. Now we're very close to this top here. If this top is breached here, then we need to be more bullish at that point, or we'll need to rejig the count at that point. So we'll let it sort of play out a little. We'll let it play out to the end, but that's the line in the sand at that point. We'll see how that plays out. I mean, the whole thing here really is quite sort of bullish with this particular market. We know that in that we've got 5 waves from the low here coming up here. It's really vibrating across the 300 here. Now normally we'd go long above the top here, and you could do that. And also normally we would drop this down to the B wave here, to the top of the B wave, and be long at this point. But I wanted to, in this particular case, because where the rest of the markets is, wait for this top to come into play and then bring it down onto this top. So we'll do that, and then we can bring it down to here. But even even if I'm wrong, say like, let's just assume that we're wrong for a moment, and let's just assume that we do get a move up here. Now, what we need to understand is we're counting 5 waves up here, right? So we don't need to go chasing it and buying it at the top here, because these 5 waves here will give us a 3-wave counter trend, right? So that means that we can get it on top of the B wave over here, because it might be that it's like, oh shit, I made a mistake. I need to put wave 4 here and put wave 5 here. And by doing this here, it'll keep us safe at that point. But also too, if it is going to be bullish, it will do after that 5 waves, because that will be wave 1 and then ABC for 2 and then up at that point, So we'll see how that goes. But we don't want to chase it into that particular point. We'll wait for it to come back and pick us up. Enphase here, no real change. We were on this low here yesterday. We're talking about getting a wave 4. So we've got a 3-wave move so far, but also here as well we've got an ABC. Now that might turn into 5 waves coming down. I don't know yet, but it could also just be an ABC here for an ABC here, and then a move up for wave 4 here. The 38.2% is at the 250 here. So yeah, the other markets are in a little wave 4 to 5, so we may see that push up a little bit. Will it go all the way up there? I don't know. But we'll end up seeing this coming down to wave 5, and then wave 4, and then wave 5 it'll be something like this here. So if you're hedging or you're still short here, then this number here is the one that we're looking for at that point. But we'll also investigate the situation when we get down here as well. We'll have a look at it. But as you can see, we've got 1 and 2, and we still need 3 and 4 here. We need some sort of correction that's going to mirror the size of that. But mind you, that's very complicated. It's complicated because, so wave 4 here can be simple. That's what I'm trying to say. This is complicated even though it looks quite simple. It's complicated because it's bigger in mass than its current wave 1 here. So that normally wave 2 is simple and wave 4 will be complex. But I think in this case, wave 2 is complex and wave 4 is going to be simple. But still, it's not going to stop us from getting down to here. So if you're hedging or short, that's where we need to be at that point. And then we'll just reassess where some of the other tech stocks in that particular sector are at that point. So Tesla here, we're looking for a continued move up here. So we've got that. If the other stocks are going to sort of top out a little bit further up here and turn over, then Tesla will probably do the same. But at the same point, this wave 4 here, the 38.2% is up here. So I don't know which one we're going to go to, you know, because sometimes a news event will happen and it'll push it to here, or a news event will happen and it'll push it, bring it down and fail to get to where it needs to get to. That would be the 38.2% from this low here in that regard, you know. But I think we just turn with the rest of the markets at that point. But I think we really need to use this over here, you know. One, two, three, nice third of the third here, you know, like 1 and 2 and 1 and 2, and then gap helps identify the third of the third. So this will be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 up here. So this will be 3 in here. So we don't have a long way to go, but wave 1 was quite sort of longish, wasn't it? So that'll leave us up at, this is dancing within group 1 here. So we've got 10, 20 and 30 that make up minor group 1. So yeah, we'll see it up here somewhere. 5. So if Friday closes strong, then Monday's going to follow through on that, and then we start seeing some profit taking coming in on Tuesday morning, and then the trend resuming, and then Wednesday and Thursdays are the swing days in the bullish weekly cycle, so that can give us the turn at that point. But we have to be a bit careful in these cases. Yeah, that looks about right. Yeah, that looks about right. I should have done those in green, an A and a B and a C up here for that. And if I'm totally wrong and this market's going to go further up here, well, then we'll use the top of group 1 here, because while the market cannot find support on top of this number here, then it still belongs to this number. And this is just the bounce, you know, a ball bouncing off the ground. So we'll see how much steam it loses at that point. But if that number 3 there becomes, top of group 1 becomes tested support with the classic trading levels pattern, then it'll push up to 50. But we'll catch it at that point, and we'll do that little trade if that's, you know, if we're wrong. Alphabet here. So just change this count a little bit, but still looking for this as wave 1 with an ABC here. ABC here for this, and 5, looking for 5 waves here. We still need a little 4th here and a 5th here for that, so we still need to go up a little bit further in this case. So hopefully tomorrow, I mean, Tuesday really takes the wind out of the sails, you know. I mean, the trend is basically over, you know, starting Friday. It goes Friday, Monday, and then it's pretty much all over by Tuesday, just the stragglers getting in, and, you know, all the profit taking starts on Tuesday, and then all the people that got in on the Friday are out by Wednesday, and that's payday. It's the weekly cycle, weekly payday cycle for day traders. Okay, so Microsoft. So yeah, on this one here, we're just looking for it. This is pretty clear here. I'm just going over things a little bit. It's pretty clear that we've got this nice 5-wave structure coming down here. Not a very nice ABC pattern here, I have to say, but I have to, you know, I could certainly look at that as wave 1 as well. So I'll be a bit careful here on the turn when we come down here. But the A, the B, 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5 up here. So that should play out with one more move at that point. Once again, we can use, it's got 230 here. So wherever you see a 3, it'll be part of group 1. So it's hitting our target area. It's doing all the right things. So we'll be able to use this number as a retested resistance. Once we get that high in here, it'll come back down and bounce. It'll go back up. If you can identify 5 waves here, then you can short at the 61.8% mark, or on the B wave going up here. If once this does move through here, then it will retest that number again. That will also leave this exposed. It will also leave a B wave in here to be exposed as well, and that's where you can move down. But the safe trade is under here, of course, because if that's rejected at that point, it's rejecting that number here, then that's the safe trade at that particular point in time. But look, like I said, many roads to Rome, but it's just good to talk about these things, see how the market turns. And Berkshire Hathaway here, I haven't pulled this apart here, but I can assume that's 1 and 2 into here. So 1 and 2 here, and this will be a third wave. Still need a fourth and a fifth up here, and then we'll end up having this top here. We've got it as wave 1 up here, which is probably the case being part of the value stocks. It's possible that it could be a wave C of B. We're not going to do anything here until this tops out here and gives us this ABC pattern here, and then we'll be, you know, if the C wave is on an angle, well then we'll buy into it, but otherwise we'll be looking for here, and we'll build in over here on this for this. So we need this, basically we need this trend here rebalanced. That's what we're looking for at this point, and then we need to look for that trade setup. Okay, so yeah, like I said yesterday, there's nothing really to do. Day traders can trade long into last session, but that's sort of, you know, about all we can do at this point. Block I'm still a little bit unsure about, but I think we're kind of at a low here, because one of the things that jumps out at me like a naked woman is this particular move down here is long. This one here is a bit shorter, and then this one here is a bit shorter still. Do you know what I mean? So it's actually slowing down, you know. So I do think that we've got a low in here. I just want to bring it in line with other markets. So if this is the low here, we can count 5 waves up here. It's not the best, so I've got to be a bit careful about it. It could be counted correctively as well. The correction here, this is a correction here. It is a bit big. So I'll just keep monitoring it, and you know, if the SP500 finds support on the 4,000, well then we go at that point, or we can find a way in earlier, we will. I need to line this up with the banks as well. The banks, I mean, it's sort of a banking stock, isn't it? But it's sort of, you know, I don't know. It's, well, it is. I mean, Square and Square app. I mean, we've got Square in Australia. I don't think we've got some part of it over here. But anyway, I think it's possible for a low to be in here, but I just don't have the right setup here just yet for this, so I'm just going to chill on that. Bank of America. Yesterday when we talked about this, we were looking at this move down here as wave 1 and back for wave 2 over here. Everything sort of looked okay as an A and a B, and then we counted up here. Everything seemed a little bit shaky, but it all seemed to fit reasonably well. So as an A and a B and a C, we didn't want that top taken out. So this is one of the very few markets that didn't take that top out. Not to say that it won't, but it stayed there. So I'll just leave it there for the time being. It could certainly take the top out here, but then that would give me 5 waves up of 1 and 2. And 3 and 4, and then 5 here. So I'll just need to be a little bit mindful of that here, you know. So I'll just leave that here. We're not ready to rock and roll on that one just yet, but still finding our feet. We need to find the turn, and we need the setup after we can, you know, as part of the turn, so to speak. So we're not there yet for that. We didn't look at Goldman's yesterday, but yeah, once again here we're looking down for 1, back for 2, and then 1, 2, 3, 4, then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 here for wave 1 here, the A wave, the B wave, and the C wave up here. So I don't see why we can't short in the box. We can also short back under the 350 here again as well. So we should see this push up and then move down like this as well. I haven't got to JP's just yet, but added Goldman's today, so that's another step forward for mankind. 380, we don't need that there. All good. Yeah, so that's it. So I'll just leave it at that. So thanks for tuning in. Much appreciated. Cheers.